What's up, you guys? So Roger coming back to you here. Now, as you may see, it's raining, so I probably shouldn't be making a video, but a lot of people keep requesting for me to make this on this particular topic, so I figured, let's go ahead and hope for the best. Okay, so today we're going to talk about being a buyer's agent, why you work with a buyer, the benefits, and really this is like a 3-point checklist on the things that I always see buyers not doing, and or buyer's agent not doing, and that you should really check up on. And here in Florida, there's this entity that's very prominent within real estate, which is the HOA, or the Homeowners Association. So as you may know, a Homeowners Association is basically an association that controls any common area within a community, meaning any community with a gate has an HOA, or even a building. Most of Florida is really designed around gated communities, so the HOA is a very, very prominent thing. Now, what's the HOA? Of course, a homeowners association. But what do you have to check? First, you have to check assessments. There's regular assessments, monthly assessments, quarterly assessments, and special assessments, right? This could be for anything. The regular assessments are usually for maintenance of the common areas, the pool. Some include cable, light, water, etc. You have to check what's included inside the HOA. Also, when you check on the HOA, you got to understand that sometimes there's a sub, sometimes there's a master, sometimes there's just one. So what does that mean? It means that you can live in a certain community. Let's say you live in Palm Green. If you live in Palm Green, you could be part of Palm Green Homeowners Association and Palm Green Masters, meaning this is two different fees that hold two different things, right? And when you need to submit anything, let's say an ARC, which is an architectural approval for the home, meaning you want to fix anything on the outside, you might have to submit this to the master, you might have to submit this to the community, you might have to pay a fee. These are all things that you need to know, and you need to know this as an agent because you have to disclose this to the buyer. A lot of times buyers, I get calls from buyers afterwards like, oh, I didn't know I was part of an HOA. I'm just gonna call my realtor. And when that happens, you just really open up yourself to a lawsuit, and you can get into huge trouble because as an agent, as a licensed professional, this is something that we have to know and we have to disclose. Okay, next thing, financing. So financing is very important also in Florida because depending on where you're gonna move, depending on what financing is acceptable. Some communities only take, conventional. Some take FHA. Some require you to have a certain percentage down. Some communities ask you for 10%. I've seen as high as some buildings go for 25%. Of course, there are tons of buildings in Florida that, they're cash-only buildings. But that's besides the point. The thing is, you have to know the financing, and you have to know what is acceptable in the community that you're moving into. And just in order for the buyer not to go through any problems, you have to disclose everything, and the more information you can give, it's really the better. It's better to be safe than sorry. And if you can provide this list and have a signature on it and keep a copy, it's really gonna make your life a whole lot easier. Restrictions. You have to understand that in certain communities there's restrictions for anything. Maybe for a barbecue grill outside. And this is the thing about living in an HOA. These are covenants that are set in place, they're written, and they're approved by the association. So sometimes you cannot even have a barbecue grill, right, outside in your backyard, and it makes no sense, but these are the rules and you have to abide by them. Each HOA is different, and it really varies from association to association, but you have to know the rules. Some communities, if it's buildings, you can only have some buildings maybe 55 plus. Some buildings may not even take FHA financing. You really have to find out what's in store for your buyer in order to disclaim as much as possible and be able to have a good experience going forward. And this buyer is going to lead you to referrals, to word of mouth advertising. This is something definitely that, this is basically how you start farming. So it's very, very, very important. Okay, so another thing, you have to strongly encourage the 4-point inspection. A lot of times you're going to hear buyers saying, well, this is a beautiful property. It's only 5 years old. Why would you need an inspection? Get an inspection. You always want the buyer to get an inspection. It's better to be safe than to be sorry. And these are all things that you can get sued on. If the roof starts leaking, if some of the pipes break, what are the pipes made of? All of these things are very important, and all of them will be taken care of with the inspection. Get them to sign off in the inspection once they do it, or if they decline to do it. If they tell you, hey, look, I don't want an inspection, even though you strongly recommend one, I don't want to do it, and it's my call. Be like, okay, that's fine, but can you please sign this paper? And keep a copy, give them a copy, and attach that to the contract. You always want to have written documentation for the next 5 years. Apart from that, title insurance. You never know what's going on in the property. You're not an attorney, and don't advise people like you are, unless you are, and then, better for you. But if you're not an attorney, then don't advise people in legal matters. Let them know, hey, like if they ask you, hey, is there a lien on the property? Is there any, title issues with the property? Let them know. Unfortunately, I'm not able to answer that question, but I'll be more than glad to refer a legal source for you and give them an attorney's number, or just have them find their own attorney. And the title inspection is definitely something that you can get shot on. So it's really better to be safe than to be sorry. Just let them know, hey, have your title inspected, or hey, purchase title insurance. And these are things that are really going to be able to protect the buyer going forward. You got to remember that your suing period is 5 years. If anything happens between those 5 years, that's why you have to keep proof for 5 years, they can sue you, right? And they can go at you full force. So it's better to be safe than sorry. Just go a little bit further. These type of things are not expensive. They're a couple $100 compared to, a $200, $300, $500,000 property. So it's not even 1%. So just encourage your buyer to go ahead and make an investment. This is the biggest investment that they're going to make. This is their property. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So you really want to encourage this on your buyer. Now, of course, let me summarize it. The HOA, the inspection, the title, and the financing. I mean, these are very critical things. I always hear people call. Also, if your buyer is an investor, you have to inquire whether a corporation or an LLC can purchase the property. A lot of times you hear, realtors saying, hey, well, I got a buyer for your listing, but can they buy it as an LLC? And sometimes, sadly, it's no. And then the buyer has to walk because, as investors, they buy it as a company, right? So you have to figure all these things out. You have to understand, know, and inquire beforehand. You want to provide the most amount of information on the MLS in order for you to filter out uninterested buyers. Instead of having tons of calls, or instead of having a disappointed buyer that you show them the house of their dreams just to find out that they cannot purchase it for X amount of reasons. You want to be able to do your due diligence. Be a licensed professional. You have to be a professional, and you have to go above and beyond for your client, whether it be the buyer or the seller. Why? I mean, it's your job. That's first and foremost. You're also going to get paid, and this is a people business. It's a service business. So you have to understand that our name goes out by referrals, by word of mouth. That's really the strongest form of advertisement. So I hope this video helped you guys out. Remember, do your due diligence, be thorough, and give the best service that you can in order for you to expand and have a strong foundation for your business. Thank you guys. Click like, subscribe, share, the entire ordeal, and have a good day, guys. Remember, do the best you can, and let's go make this money. Thank you.